How are you?
I am excellent, and welcome to everyone who's already in chat. We are doing our annual, or normally annual, or regular, semi-regular
Should be more
Patreon
regular.
live stream. This one's for January and February because we kind of missed one. So we are now live, and anyone who is on Patreon can find the link and can join us live on air if they feel like it. And if you don't, that is okay too. But we do this so that we can, thank everyone for their great support that they do, and we really, really appreciate it.
We even have a graphic to show our appreciation. This one right here. Thank you to everybody on this list. We fixed it so it's right. So thank you very much for being a Patreon. If you want to check us out, it's patreon.com/3dmakeit. Helps pay for like the website and projects and every little thing. Yeah. Well, it's if people sprung back this morning, they did it backwards, Dominic. You're supposed to spring forward.
Yes. Yeah.
It'd be double bad.
It is 11 a.m. currently, Mountain Daylight Time. We are no longer on Standard Time. We are on Daylight Time.
Don't get me started.
Nice and confusing.
Yeah. My brain hurts already. Yeah. Ray says he's got a couple printers running and it's noisy. So.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, no.
That's all right. We do this in case you want to join us. You're not mandated to join us. But we enjoy it when you're here.
Yes, I mean, of course we do. Now that you said it, we can leave, right? Just kidding.
So David's voice has taken a turn for the worse this morning for some reason. So hopefully he can last the whole show. If not, he's not going to be as chatty as normal.
Just sit here and smile.
Yeah, that's a non-forced smile. So that's good.
All right, that's not terrifying at all. Yeah, the time change always gets people, especially people that manage like network switches that don't automatically change.
Well, and then so we had the Y2k bug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone remembers that from way back in 2000, 99, 2000.
Yep.
But wasn't it like Exchange just had another bug that was there a new version of the Y2k because someone didn't fix it properly?
They baby patched it and then it lasted for another 20 years. And I was like, where's your planning?
Yeah, so this was the 2022 January K bug.
Right?
It was really stupid.
So if you have been following the last, we've had one live stream, I think, since the incident. But in the mean, this week, not release. And like, it's not life changing, but it definitely fixes bugs. So
yeah,
it's there. It's a thing.
so Raven, the sexy porn voice of David.
Yeah.
And Stig just told us that apparently Norway changes in 2 weeks. Didn't that happen a couple of years ago where all the time zones got out of sync because they moved North America's time 2 weeks earlier than previous or something stupid? So I think
something along those lines.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and messes everyone up.
Yeah. Especially us. Yeah. There it is. So as we tend to do when we move the clock, that means that warmer, brighter times are coming, maybe.
Yes.
I mean, what it really means is look out for fire season. But it, we're moving out of winter, which is one of the least humid.
Yeah, it's the driest.
Yeah.
Probably the driest time of the year for us is half the year.
Yeah.
We're in a
Which is
desert, a frozen desert.
Yeah. We have 1 month where you can't leave your filament on the counter. But it's that time to think about storage again.
Maybe recharge your desiccant.
Yeah.
Did you do a video on recharging the desiccant?
No, we talked about it. We never did it.
We probably should. So
Life
that's something we need to do, because that's one thing. Like I've got my storage containers down here. They've got a little seal on them and whatnot, and I keep everything in bags, and I've got desiccant in there. But after a certain amount of time, it's probably time to either look at new desiccant, reevaluate how you store your stuff, like David said, or recharge your desiccant. And so you can quickly place it in the microwave for, how long did we figure? 30, 40 seconds?
30 seconds at 1,000 watts.
Yeah. And it gets rid of that moisture out of that desiccant and changes its color, and it's good to go again. So now do small batches. Don't think you can throw, like, I don't know, a giant pile of desiccant in the microwave. Small batches are better.
Watch it too, because some desiccant has metal particulate in it, and that wouldn't end well.
So it's kind of like putting grapes in the microwave when they sparks.
Yeah.
Because of the aluminum.
Sparky grapes. I once got a cup of soup on fire doing that. I missed a little piece of the tin foil around the edge, and woof. But so, like, think about dry boxes again, and I know there's a lot of focus on, like, you need your dry box to have all this fancy, piping and stuff in, but no, the fact of the matter is a box with a lid and a few desiccant packages is gonna really do you a long time.
Now, I suppose if you're in like Vancouver or some coastal area where it's very humid all the time, you may want to make sure your box is sealed better with desiccant in it. Mm-hmm. But other than that, if you're in the Midwest or northern Canada and whatnot, probably even Norway, like Stig and whatnot, I don't know. How humid is it in Norway, Stig, where you are? Is it fairly humid? Because I think it would depend, because if you're a coastal person, it's going to be more humid.
Mm-hmm.
So be aware of your local environment.
Right. Now, the other thing to watch out too when you're thinking like filament storage is like retention on the actual printer. So I know lots of us here have modified our printers so that they're direct drive. I'm just trying to think if I have one that's not. I don't think I have any that are standard anymore. But if you run printers,
I have 2 that are Bowden.
Mm-hmm. So if you run printers that are Bowden, storing the filament on them gets rougher, because if the filament's in that tube and then the humidity changes, it'll just make your filament a mess and snap. So
yeah, I've had that.
It sucks. Right? Like, I've lost quite a bit of filament that way in the SX4.
Yeah.
Because you have like a meter running through the Bowden tubey thing to the direct drive extruder thing.
Well, and then I think you had the same, we've had that issue at work anyway. I don't know if you had it at home when you had the Predator, right? Like, if you leave it too long just sitting there, it will snap and coil up, and then you have a chunk.
Like a chunk somewhere. I had it maybe once or twice. It wasn't as bad as it was at work.
Yeah.
All right. now that I got that drink in. It's important. I was going to pose a question to people, and I think to now is a good time to ask. I'm just going to read Ray's comment. I put my extra desiccant in the bottom of a flash forge while it's running. Then once I get a bunch of that, I swap it out. Yeah. Constantly try it when you're already running something anyway, right?
Yeah. Stig says in the summer it's humid, and he pulls about 4 liters a day of water out of there. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just going. I'm trying to click a button. Anyway, would people? This is a Patreon question. So if you're not in Patreon,
That's
maybe
okay.
spin on your chair for a second. I don't know. Would people on Patreon prefer a less formal video chat opposed to like a YouTube live stream chat where we just kind of use we could use like the Discord back channel video chat in our Patreon channel. We could all just hang out without rebroadcasting it. I don't know if that would be something Patreons would appreciate more than being on YouTube. It's just a thought, but if you are in Patreon or a Patreon, I guess is the right way to say it, let us know. Just you can either drop it in the chat here or in Discord, and then if we have the option to change formats. So
yeah,
I was just thinking about that.
We are totally fine with whatever. We enjoy these hangouts too. That's not to say we won't ever do them again if you guys decide you want to do something different. But yeah.
Question. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. Maybe we'll put a poll in Patreon or Discord too or something. But yeah, like humidity in my house, honestly, in the basement is always low. Always. Yeah. So I can leave filament like I have 4 rolls just sitting out and it'll be fine. Now the garage, on the other hand, that's a different story. Because apparently big garage doors let moisture and humidity transfer easier. Yeah. No.
You need what's the gauge that you measure humidity with?
Is it hygrometer?
Hydrometer?
Hygrometer.
Okay, yeah. I need one of those out
there. Yeah, hygrometer. I'm like, is that the right word? Because there's the other one that floats in the water.
Yeah, and then there's what's the one for pressure?
Altimeter.
Altimeter, yes.
We should put altimeters in our basements so that we're sure they're not moving.
I remember my dad had one of those. It had all 3 in it. It's got the little mercury thing, and then it had it had a little thing that would turn, and it'd say, rain soon or whatever.
Yeah. A barometer.
Barometer, yeah.
That does atmospheric pressure is barometer, and altimeter is
altitude.
Yeah. Man, look at all these words coming out today. They're so good. But I mean, unless you're coast side, open, like you said, open to humidity, lots of filament. Like I keep my PET G and my ABS in a sealed box. So like it has that foam core that creates air.
And I put extra desiccant in those ones as well because I don't need those ones. But I don't have like the nylons. It's nylons that really absorb, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And so PET G is in the nylon family, chemically speaking. So PET is adjacent. But yeah, like nylons are really bad. And then like if you're trying to print the the high temp stuff like beacons and such. It might get confusing if you're in an earthquake zone.
Yeah, but
Bounce a
an
little, you know.
altimeter would just tell you the like you.
Yeah, going
It
up
doesn't
and
tell
down.
you about earthquakes
Good.
because that one's what's the earthquake one? That's seismometer.
All right, let's just get them all out. If you know something that measures something, like just throw it in the chat, right? Like,
Yeah, how do you measure a vacuum?
oh my that would be a pressure gauge. It doesn't have
That's probably a barometer because it's pressure.
yeah.
Yeah, we just got real nerdy here.
So Stig says, here, I have the power. Watch this show. Stig says this, everybody. I don't have problems with Betchy in the winter, but I have to try it into summer.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. And please, for the love of everything, don't like set your oven to bake your Petchy and then walk away. You don't want a goopy mess. And low is better. So like if you can dry your film at lower temperatures.
I've been looking for those stackable dehumidifiers, but like at like thrift stores and stuff. Because I don't want to buy a brand new one. But
No.
sometimes you'll get all the trays and then you can that's stacked with the rings and you can cut out the centers so you can put multiple filament in it. And
Which
so
one? There was a company that was like Filadry or something. I forget their name now.
yeah, but I'm cheap. So that's why I'm looking at like secondhand and thrift stores, just if I'm browsing. Then,
I understand.
you know,
I'm
then I'll get the dehumidifier with their stacking rings. Like you can get the stacking rings. Like there's for some reason they don't have the dehumidifiers at a couple of them, but you can buy like they have like a whole like 4-foot stack of the rings, so you can buy the rings, but not the humidifier.
It's like,
Or dehumidifier.
Yep. Yeah.
So
The company has the print dry.
a jerky maker, yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could use
And so I've been looking. We no longer have a Salvation Army here, but we have like 600 other types of like secondhand thrift type stores. So been looking at those.
They're using lots of those dehydrators and those things work. Yeah, Princess Auto $9. You're not wrong. We just haven't been there in a while. But they are controlled better than your oven. Ovens have an on-off. Like it's just on, off. Whereas lots of these dehumidifiers actually set a level. And it's constant. So that's why the oven always ends up in funny pictures on Reddit. My filament. Did I bake it too long and the spool's shaped like a C?
Yeah, when your ABS spool warps, you had it too hot. I'm just saying. Or if the cardboard like burns in the cardboard reinforced one, that's bad. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put a cardboard one. Well, I mean, it would be okay. Like, and generally when you're drying filament, like your PLA, you'll dry around, if you have to dry it, you shouldn't 60, and then your bed cheese and stuff up to about 90, but you shouldn't have to go very hot. The key is the time, right?
True.
So you keep it in low and slow. It's like smoking a good, set of ribs, low and slow.
Ray must have got a wicked deal for $29.99 because right now they're $199 and $99 at Princess Auto. So, Ray, let me know when the next $29 deal is.
We could get a discount for slightly damaged. Slightly damaged.
Slightly damaged.
Just a little. So one of the things that I often come back to, and we haven't done a lot of it, but try 50 all across the board. Yeah, so Raymond doesn't even shift his temperatures, which again, if you have time, it'll work.
Yep.
So we all have in our arsenal of things, tools that we use to maintain, manage, and generally support our 3D printing. And I thought it would be an interesting topic to see, what we're all using. So like, well, what's a tool that comes to mind? And not me, I'm not a tool. But what's a tool that comes to mind that that you go to almost every print you're using? Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
So every print, you'll grab that tool and do something either to your printer, or you're talking about the print. And Greg's holding up the Jaws of Life.
Here, I'll cover this up so that you don't know where I got it from. Unless you're in Canada.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored by them.
Hashtag not sponsored by the place we were just talking about.
Right. So digital calipers, as Greg was holding up there, are a great tool post and pre-printing. They give you greater accuracy. Oh, yes.
Again, not sponsored.
I don't even know who that is. But the calipers give you great accuracy, but those metal rulers, specifically metal ones, not like the I wouldn't put a wood one in my arsenal of things, nor would I do like plastic. The metal ones are good for several reasons, because if you can't find a scraper, they double as a scraper.
No. But if you want to check how flat your bed is, they work really well, because you put them on and you can see if there is a warp or something in your bed that you may not have realized or whatnot, and you won't need, then you can understand your printing area that you're going to get the most optimum prints from if it was extremely warped. But then you can at least, it's a great tool for that.
Yeah, you know where to start with, right? Like, we had a printer, like, not ours, it was at work, but we had a printer where it must have been 4 calls out to look at it, and it was it wasn't the print bed, it was the glass from Creality that was warped, and you could clearly see it with the big long metal ruler.
Well, and one of the things people forget is even if you, because they're pretty thin beds, those heated beds from a lot of the printer manufacturers, but when you put glass on top, over time, glass conforms to the shape that it's sitting on. Because you're heating and cooling and whatnot, and glass is what's it called? I can't remember the technical term, but it's like a solid liquid. Amorphous material, yes. And so it can over time, it can actually match the material underneath so just be aware of that too over time.
Dan actually posted something in the comments. There's a bit of a typo, but there it is. He has a humidifier, doesn't have a humidifier, so he puts a box over a register and then pokes a hole in it, lets heat through and out.
And if you are a lot of places in North America, especially in Western Canada here where we live, we have forced air heating. So the air that comes out of your register is probably 30 to 40 degrees ish, and then it mixes with the rest of the air in your house. So having air flowing through, and if you don't have a humidifier on, that's a That's a good hack. Yeah, I like it.
It's actually. I mean, I might do it in a room where I'm not sitting because you might get a little bit of a smell from it. But like, hey, it's a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Dominic said everything doubles as a hammer in a pinch, and I flashback to Futurama where he's using a nail as a hammer, and then he loses the nail and has to get another one. But that's old. That's
Yeah.
an old joke right there.
Yeah.
One of my favorite tools that I use around my printers is actually this knife. This one. And it is a Swiss Army knife, but like it's the tech. My brother got it for me a couple of years back, but it's the tech version, so it has all the it has all the screwdrivers and torques and everything. Like I could disassemble and reassemble a printer with just this tool, and it's come in handy many times too, just to get supports off of stuff, and I rely on it. And then Greg has a good point. I don't know if those count as tools, more as
I don't know. I use them to hold things all the time.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a clamp.
It's like a helping hand. Oh yes, and then Greg has an X-Acto knife.
And I've got it safe right now, so I don't poke myself. Because sharp things are sharp.
Yeah, I learned that. Sharp things are sharp.
Yeah.
And then like it doesn't really matter. Like the next thing on the list after my knife would be like something, along the lines of a screwdriver. So a tack screwdriver. I have some dental picks that I use on my most of my press. Yeah.
I think I have a few around here too,
yeah.
And they're great. Like if you are just handy and whatnot, I keep a couple in the toolbox because there's always times where you're doing something, and then something gets stuck beside something. Those little picks are great for popping stuff out.
What's the catchphrase? If they don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Yeah, if you're not handsome, at least they find at least you're handy.
Now, like I have this one. It was a gift. Greg has one too, but a screwdriver of some sort with multiple bits. So like whether it's iFixit, or like like the push through handles, a Ryobi screwdriver drill thing.
It's very handy. Oh,
they call them electric screwdrivers. Those ones, just because they're small. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, if you're digging into the crannies of stuff and your lighting's not great or you're working on something, it's really handy to have a good flashlight too in your arsenal. Yeah,
and I mean, like as far as tools I use all the time, like those are probably the three, like couple good screwdrivers. But like when you're thinking like service and that kind of stuff, look, you don't use your tap set all the time.
You know what? When I'm doing stuff, it's so handy to be able to, if you're making a model and maybe you missed a hole or whatnot, it's been so handy to be able to thread a hole into some plastic,
right?
and whatnot.
When you're, I guess, when you're doing such a thing, make sure that you either have a lot of walls or you're just going slow with the tap, because you'll melt plastic pretty quick.
Yep.
But I'm older than most of you. A magnifier glass is indispensable. I completely agree. I actually, Greg has his right there. I have mine in the garage. I used to have a set of the ones that pull down, like you, and then they were like goggles, and then you can move them up and down.
Yeah.
I don't have it anymore.
Honestly, I think I found this at a thrift shop or something, and it's got the light in it and magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing soldering work or if I'm doing something, I'm just at the age where my close up is starting to fail me.
Yeah, and mine's opposite. I've noticed that I have a hard time reading far away again, and it's not my prescription, which is sad.
Well, so now I have to go further away to read little
jealous-
print.
The
And
ever
so
jealous
I-
sleeping reader.
I'm going to confess, these ones aren't them, but I got a set of transitions, or not transitions, progressive. So they're at work.
For here, I mean,
They're at work just for those times when I need to
for
read
sure.
some fine print.
So Stick mentioned an interesting one, and let me. Do you want to click the button?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that I don't know. Like I have some, and I have different varieties, but a heat gun.
Absolutely.
And heat guns are very, very good for finishing your prints.
Yep.
Right. So, like when you're looking at getting rid of stringing, or even softening two prints to slightly change a shape, you can do it with a heat gun.
Yeah, I made a Mandalorian wrist thing, and I couldn't get my hand through, so I used the heat gun and made it oval so my hand could just fit through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a tool I use a lot, and that's another good one. Another one to have is a soldering iron. Now, not necessarily for soldering. If you want to do heated insets and whatnot, or you just need to maybe even weld the print together to halves and whatnot, you can in a pinch use a soldering iron and then clean it up. So
Yeah, and especially if you're
don't solder with it afterwards.
yeah, and lots of times using a soldering iron to weld prints and stuff, using the chiseled end instead of the point is good.
Yep.
I use mine for clearing up nozzles. I honestly use a blowtorch for that.
Yeah.
I'll put the brass nozzle up on in the metal clamp and then just torch it and watch stuff fall.
I've also used the soldering iron to test to clear. Well, so if I have a heater block and whatnot, and I want to test some stuff or heat set it, and it's not in the printer, it fits perfectly through where the heater cartridge goes. So you can actually use that to control and heat up the temperature, and then heat set stuff. So I've had to do that before.
Dang it. So I don't know where I put them, but I will describe them in a second. But Ray had, like, the scraper is a great tool, and they come in many sizes. Many sizes. I like do you remember the one that came with
Those are handy too.
Oh, the nippers, yes. The scraper that came with the Predator, with the wooden.
Oh yeah, it was a wide knife.
Yeah, I like those ones. So we often people in our position get asked to, like, a common ask of us is how to get prints off of a print bed. That one's debatable, but a can of air is your best friend.
Don't shoot yourself in the eye with the laser.
The lasers are bad for your eye. So here's the thing with those laser guns is they don't really work on your aluminum bed too well.
You need a surface that's dark enough.
Yeah, so like shooting it at your silicone sock or something like that would be fine, but bouncing it off the glass, you won't get. You blind over there?
I'm not seeing spots yet, but I can tell I shouldn't have done that.
So the circling back to my print is stuck. A can of air is your best friend, and not in the way you think it is. you turn it upside down and spray your print at the bottom with it, it'll shoot the coolant from the propellant out of the air can, and your print will immediately go and come off the build plate. 3D resin and UV flashlights can fix on weld prints, and it's very true. You can use the it doesn't have to be the 3D printing resin either, just the UV curing resin. But keep in mind that curing resin to resin is often difficult. So if you have like a cured resin surface and you wanted to join it with another resin surface, resin might not be your best option for longevity. You might want to look at like another kind of like solvent welding solution.
Well, if it's a resin print and you're just using some of the existing resin on it.
Yeah, but once the resin cures, it doesn't like to cure to resin again.
Really?
You have like a working time. So it will, like, you can still epoxy it and it will bond, but it won't be as strong as like
The original.
using CA. Yeah.
So if it's fresh out, like if it's fresh out of the printer, and you have multiple pieces you're assembling, at that point, if there's still resin residue, you can paint on it and put them together and then put them in the curing station.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
If you're doing it that way too, you could use like I gotta find who said it because I want to take the credit for the comment. Dominic said it. You could use just a flashlight, the UV flashlight, and then join them and then cure them after that once they were joined. Steak says, well, I have a gas line and other flammable stuff here, so I try to stay away from open flames.
Yeah,
it's a good point, true. Buddy. It's a good point. You don't want to
and he followed it up with he keeps a fire extinguisher on hand. I have one in the next room, a fire extinguisher. So
yeah, it's important.
I always keep one in the furnace room and one in the kitchen. And so yeah,
if you're one of the fireball people, because was it one of the what's the company that made the original slicer for the Infinity printer? Matter Hackers. Wow, that was a weird way to get there. But they were selling like the fireballs for a while, like so you could hang it above stuff, and then if it heated up, the ball explodes, and it puts out the fire with pressure, I guess. And if you get the high quality ones, they work fine, but you gotta watch out because people pass the cheap knockoffs and they don't do anything. They just drop powder.
Well, I don't know. That just seems kind of janky to me.
It really does, right? It really, like, there's some when you get a good one, they work, but they explode like a little hand grenade. So you wouldn't want to be in there when it went off either. My African class, I'll take it off and put it in a pot of boiling water. That's a very good way to do it too, is if the filament is malleable at like the 100 degrees.
Yeah. Well, before we forget, I know Ray's really good at reminding everyone.
Click the button.
Just remember that you got to thank the algorithm gods. So like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you like what we're doing here, we do this on a regular basis, and our official times now are our live shows will be 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time until the fall. So I'm sure we'll fit in some summer holidays in there too, but we will be here regularly at 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we forget.
King of the segues here, people. We're not worthy. The catching what I caught and being in the situation makes it hard to continue work on like podcasts and stuff right now, but we are still pursuing that. It's difficult right now. So
Yeah.
I'm busy
When
just
when people want to listen to stuff and you can't speak, it's very difficult.
yeah. It's brought up a few fun conversations where my wife will answer me, and then I go, "What do you think I just said, though?" Because like like just completely right field. Like, wait, what do you want for supper? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. Wait, what? Um, so hopefully that part of it gets a little better. Honestly, like my resin printer is ready to go. We've got a little space temporarily set up for our resin work. Uh, my wife does resin pouring now, and she really likes to make stuff from silicone molds. So
Nice.
she'll to pour in a 2-part clear resin crafting, kind of epoxy. But honestly, lots of the tools we just mentioned, it's the same for that. So it's kind of sweet. The best one is a CO2 type extinguisher, since they don't leave residue, and they can be used if you have electrical fires. Yeah. So
Yeah.
in Canada, and I don't know what it is in other countries, but our fire extinguishers carry ratings on them, and
Yep.
they rate them A, B, or C. And the ones that I always carry are all.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. I do
so
too.
they can get like, so they're different types of fires they can put out, but an ABC is good for all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't disagree.
In our server room, I think we have the just outside of it, we have the one that's is it CO2 maybe, just so that it doesn't damage the equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good thing with the powdery ones, that when you use the extinguisher properly, you might get a yellow residue. Even if that gets everywhere, it vacuums up, and like it doesn't ruin, like the newer ones don't ruin electronics. Like when the 90s, if you discharge those, goodbye anything. But now they've changed some of the component stuff. Same system in Norway. See, it's good to know that our safety standards match.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of well, I'd hope it's universal. Like,
yeah, it's been,
and then you get the foam suppression systems.
Yeah.
So, which are really fancy.
I forget
which
one I was.
Those are normally used in like restaurants with deep fryers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because you need to cover them. I think it was the nerd, maybe. He was building a workspace at his house, and I want to say it was him I was watching, but it might not have been. But they're doing like water sprinklers, so a sprinkler system, and I'm like, you'll work, but you'll ruin everything electronic. But I guess at that point, it's more important to get the fire out than it is worrying about.
There are quite a few residential places that mandate home sprinkler systems.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. It's not in our building code in Alberta, but there are quite a few places, like, and any business obviously has it in a commercial building around here. But
the other thing I find helpful to have around is an auto CO2 detector near your space, because if stuff does heat up, the CO gas might give you a bit of a hint before it's too late. But I mean, that's on the outskirts of a tool. That's a detector now.
And being on the same topic as the time change, change your batteries in your smoke detector if you have battery rated smoke detectors, because this is a perfect time of year to remember to change them. So that's that's one thing I don't have directly in this space, which I think I'm going to correct. Mine's
right there.
Yeah, I have one outside, like a little ways away, but I think I'd rather put one directly in here.
Oh yeah, you should.
And that's a good reminder to a smoke detector.
It's a no-brainer for printing. Sorry. With like the changing, you never know how the manufacturer is going to crimp your wires or solder ends, and you could have 10,000 hours on a printer and not have problems, and then the hot end shorts,
Or you
And
could get, a legend.
we don't break up the legend. I've never heard of the things that you speak of, Greg. Raymond uses the nest at home for fire. Yep.
Well, all smoke detectors are only good for 10 years, and you have to replace them. So
That's
if you
because
have
of
owned your house over 10 years, replace your smoke detectors because the detector inside degrades over the 10 years and
the
no longer
radioactive
functions.
isotope
Yeah.
degrades. I remember I said that to my parents when I was visiting them. I'm like, you've had that fire detector since I was a kid. And they go, yeah. And I'm like, that was a long time ago. You need to get rid of that thing. But a detector, so they have 10-year batteries and then you just turf them.
Yeah.
As long as you're testing, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just the batteries necessarily. It's actually the detector itself is only good for 10 years.
Yeah, same thing with the carbon monoxide
Yeah.
But like the having those around is a good safety tool. I guess you could call it a tool for 3D printing, and just life in general. But that's kind of the short list. I mean, the only thing I didn't mention for myself is a lighter. If it's in a pinch, I like to use a lighter to do quick welds. And
I prefer the barbecue lighter.
Well, it's a little bit longer.
Yeah. Because hot things are hot, and if they're away from you, you get
they're
burnt.
Less hot. They're safer. Yes. But as far as that, if you guys have any unique tools that you want to share with us, you can do so in the Patreon Discord. So to get on the Patreon Discord, Greg's holding up some ISO. I don't know if that's a tool, but it's definitely stuff. But to get on the Patreon Discord, it's patreon.com/3dmakeit. Just share this out too. What was the second can?
It was just can of air.
Yeah.
So thanks again to Helge, and who's our Tree Supports patron, and everyone else. We appreciate everyone who does contribute. It makes extra projects and paying for domains and all that possible. So thank you so much for everything, and we enjoy all the interactive chat, and we love doing these streams for the patrons so that they can come on and even join us. So even though no one's joined us today, we're not offended.
No, and these ones are a little more chill than our regular ones. We tend to interact more with the comments and stuff. So, but thank you guys for being Patreons. We sure appreciate it. We do post non-Patreon level things on Patreon too, but to get onto the Discord channel and stuff like that, Patreon's the way to do it. And if you want our attention for extensive printer help, Patreon's also the way to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and the Discord community is great. They we always see stuff. Raymond, Dominic, and Stig are always posting various pictures of projects they're doing, info that they found. Like last week, there was the UPS Pi hat, which was really cool, that was posted in there. So there's always cool things that that people are putting in there and whatnot. We do have a legacy Discord as well. So before we started Patreon, we had a Discord that we had some original people join, and so we've kept that, but we closed it to the public, and then we created the Discord. So anyone who was legacy is still available in there, and we can still chat with them and whatnot. And then all the people who get the official, anyone who signs up with Patreon will get added directly to Discord, and then you just put your Discord name in and you can chat and interact with us all the time.
Yep. It's just one of those ways to stay a community and in touch. I just was thinking, man, Greg, your mic sounds really good. And then I remembered that you switched it, and
Yeah, I actually
it
have
was
a real
long
mic.
time. Yeah. I was like, wow. You sound
Yeah,
more great.
I finally took the plunge, and my wife got me this as a Christmas present, and so it's really nice. I really like it, and it is worth spending the extra money on a decent piece of equipment. You know, so you can nickel and dime yourself to death, and sometimes it's the right thing is to bite the bullet and get a decent piece of equipment.
Decent. Yeah, for sure. But I think, kind folks, that's kind of
You made it past the half hour, David.
I didn't know if I'd make it past 11:30, but we did it.
Yeah.
But we will wrap her up here. So if you guys want to check us out, you can check us out at, we mentioned Patreon, 3dmakeit.ca has everything there too. So you can check us out. But until next time.
And we have all those other social links out there and everything. So, you know, feel free to check out 3dmakeit.ca and you can get to all of our social, Patreon, all the other places we post stuff right there and check us out. So thanks, everyone. It was really a great interactive chat with everyone in the chat, and thanks again to all our patrons, and we will see you next Sunday.
Bye.